Tuning into the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Pick it up.
You're welcome, guys.
Shout out to Phil Collins. For this moment since last week.
All right. Welcome into the AfterBuzz TV Keeping Up with the Kardashians after show right here on AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Bobby DeMuro. That is Sterling Cates. Next to her is Stephaune Wallace.
Yep.
Frankie's out tonight. She'll be back next week. How y'all doing
And
out there?
Nick.
And Nick will be back next week, too. Hey, before I forget, we were talking about it off air. We are live streaming this. So if you're watching on YouTube Live right now,
What
you
up?
can comment. You can tweet at us. I am at Bobby DeMuro. She is at Sterling Cates. He is at I Am More Fire. Tweet us right now. We got our phones out. We're always on our phones pretty much 24 hours a day, so we'll be able to respond, tweet you back, do whatever. Let's jump into it, guys. What do you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sterling, welcome
Great.
back. How was North Carolina?
It was great. I was in my best friend's wedding.
Ooh.
Not the movie, but an actual one. And it was fabulous.
I was
Interesting.
like,
Had
they
the
made a
best
part
time.
2 to that? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a sequel.
We did miss you last week.
I missed you guys too.
I mean, like, we needed a girl. There were moments where two guys in Kardashians just don't get it.
Very interesting setup, but I mean, I heard got rave reviews. So
Oh, huge.
good.
Yeah, it blew up. All right,
Glad it survived without me.
barely. Let's talk about Kylie right now. I think we're going to have a lot to say about her. Lip fillers, spoiler alert.
Duh.
We already knew it was happening.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, knew that in my minute.
she came out, and she did come out, this week in the news, too,
Right.
admitting to it. So
Well, she
I
had
just-
to because this episode was airing.
Yeah. So before we start with the episode and what happens, because that gives the fluff and that gives the insecurity, which is serious. But before we go there, let's go to the issue of this isn't plastic surgery, but it is, what's the word I'm looking for? She's changing her body as a kid. She's 17.
Yeah, it's not as invasive as plastic surgery, but it is yet augmentation of
And you
some
need-
sort.
It's temporary lip fillers, so it's not permanent, but it definitely can be, and it goes away over time. But yeah, I mean, she's 17.
Too far?
You have to have
you need parental permission. Too far? Too much?
I don't think so. I don't think so when you're 17, especially when you're someone. My only thing about it is she went this whole period of time denying it. It would have been much better. I think it would have just blown over way faster if she was just like, "Yeah, I got them plumped up," and then it would have been over. But by her denying it or not addressing it, it just kind of drew out this whole situation, and I don't think that was necessary.
See, oh yeah, go ahead.
But going off that, I do think this show is in its 10th season. She grew up in this environment, especially seeing Kim, Khloe, Kourtney doing all of these things, and she does have that public eye. If I was 17, that would be. I mean, not that I'm saying comparing that to her, but that's different. But it's something that really she's insecure about. She didn't even want to be in front of the camera. And I mean, it's not going to kill her. So I mean, just so she doesn't overdo it, I think it's fine. Just own up to it.
Yeah,
I 100% agree
Because
with that.
she's like almost 18. She's going to do it then anyway.
sure. I mean, 18, you do whatever you want to yourself, no doubt. I kind of stand on my point from last week, which is she's got this platform of influence for all of these young girls. So she's dealing with these self-esteem issues. She's dealing with this insecurity, which I feel like who in the world didn't that was 17 and below, probably leaking over into, 18 to 25. So now 17 and below, that's her fan base. They're all like, the pressure is on these parents again. How much does it cost to get lip fillers? How much does it cost to get these things augmented on your body?
And going off that, I will say it's not the best impression on, kids in America in general. And that crazy thing that was going around, the Kylie Jenner lip challenge, where they would put the suction cup on their lips and then pull it out, and then their lips would be swollen. That's dangerous. Like, you can't be going around doing that type of stuff.
But it's because you can't afford it, so
you're gonna
you can't get what Kylie
that
gets.
Makes sense.
So but now again, you're hurting yourself.
The biggest thing about role models to me, and I hate that term to a certain degree, because on the one hand, she's a public figure. She did ask for this, so she has to deal with this. On the other hand, she grew up, like you said, from being a kid in this thing. So when she was 6, when she was 10, she didn't ask for this then.
Sure.
So there's a weird balance there. But one thing I'll say about the role model thing, when you're a role model, and we all are to somebody at every level at some degree, where every one of us is a role model, everybody watching this is a role model to someone.
Yeah.
When you're a role model, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to live the life of Jesus, or pick your perfect person or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that. You need to own the crap that you do. And that's the point of it, is if you're going to do this, be honest about it. If you're struggling with something, be honest about it. The great parallel to this in a weird and much more significant way is Bruce. Yeah. Look at him struggling with something. And yes, it took him decades to figure this out and come out with it. But look at him struggling with something, saying, you know what? I'm still figuring this out.
Right.
Here's what I'm going through. We're going to save some lives. That is a role model for people going through that. Sure. Kylie, on a much smaller level.
It's not even comparable.
It isn't. But to those girls who do look up to her in a serious way, she can still be a role model in that same thing. Say, you know what? I'm insecure about this. A, I shouldn't be because I'm beautiful. But B, here's just what I did. I'm going to be honest about it. It's not right for all of you. This is what I did.
Yeah. And I mean, it's hard to say what one would do in that situation, just because, you go on your Instagram or whatever, and she's getting thousands and thousands of likes and comments. And, that was really sad in the interview when she said, I've heard the worst things anybody could say about me over and over every day. And hearing that over and over, and that constant negativity, I mean, it really could break you down. And especially if something like, maybe my lips aren't as thin as I would like them to be, for me to think that I would be happy with how I look. If that's how she feels about it, that it makes her happier with how she looks and not so much what everyone else thinks. Like, everyone else thinks her lips are too thin, blah, blah, blah. But if this is something that will make her happier and be, pleased with her body, then I say go for it. And especially, if it'll alleviate some of that insecurity that you have. And that kind of goes with Kim's psoriasis, because she's kind of just open about it. And then, you can pretty much judge her from there. But she laid it all out there, and it's there, and it's honest. So.
And Kim has, remember, 18 years on Kylie, 15 years on Kylie, which makes a difference. And Kim is kind of the voice of reason in this episode, with her saying, hey, if you want to do this, but let's not go too far. Let's remember what we're doing.
Keep it subtle. Yeah. And I think that's a huge point.
Yeah.
So you thought that was good advice, is what you guys are saying?
From Kim, I thought it was pretty good advice.
I thought it was pretty good advice, just to do whatever makes you happy. But don't overdo it.
Look, as much as I want to excoriate this family and say
it's temporary lip fillers. This isn't like she got like a boob job and liposuction and butt injections. It's like nothing.
And it's not just that, but this family is not a normal family. I know in a lot of ways they want to be like one, they should act like one, but there are certain things like this that I shake my head at, and I'm like, you know what? This is dumb. I would never come on. But this is not a normal family. And things like this, you don't condone it, but you got to be like, you know what? You're living under pressures, whether real or perceived, that are different from the pressures the rest of us live under.
And meanwhile, Kendall's like, oh, no one needs anything in this family. Everyone's perfect. And she's like this top model, and she doesn't need anything. So they're like, come on, Kendall, shut up. Like, don't talk.
It's easy for her to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Kylie, though, the other interesting thing about this, and this is, so I've been working on this thesis in my head, and it's kind of crazy, but I have a feeling that younger people, our generation, people younger than us, people Kylie and Kendall's age, understand and approach the internet differently than older people. And this is very broad. But older people respect, I think, their own privacy a little bit more, while people in our generation be sharing everything online.
Yeah.
But coming with sharing everything online, granted, you only share the good and not the bad in a lot of cases.
Right.
But there's also a degree of authenticity. We see it as hosts. We see it as personalities. When we connect with viewers on shows like this, it's when we did something real. Stephaune, last week when we were talking about real things, people were like, I liked hearing that conversation.
Sure.
That's the connection. It's authentic. Kendall and Kylie should understand that too, and I think they do, because they're great on things like social media. It would seem then that they should understand how to approach that same connection with the media. When a reporter asks, what's up with your lips? you think she'd have a better answer already planned out than, oh, I don't want to talk about it, or oh, I'm going to run away. Like,
Right.
it
Or a
shouldn't
team
have.
that's
But
already
I mean, when
spoken to
she's
her.
posting,
Exactly.
when she's posting on Instagram, that's completely in her control. She can choose what filter she wants to use, what angle she wants to use.
And she
but when
knows
you
what they
have
look
someone
like.
in your face with the camera, you can't control that.
But she knows those Instagram posts and what they look like and what she's sending out to the world. And then when a reporter comes and says, "What's up with your lips?" she has to expect that.
She has to be prepared. She was
Yeah.
not prepared at all.
There's no way that she says, "What do you mean my lips? They're normal." Like, go back 6 months. No, they're not. Whatever the timeline is,
Right,
you
right,
got to
right.
be prepared.
When
for
she was first saying, I just overlined my lips a little bit, I was like, oh, I'm going to try that. And then I tried. I was like, no. There is no way. There's not enough lip there to even make them look as big as hers look.
What is, not to sound like totally bad with girls, ladies call me, what is the appeal of lips like that? Like, I don't, but for women, I can understand. For guys, I know why we can find it attractive, but girl, like, what is going through Kylie's head? Why would you do this?
I mean, I think she just wants fuller lips. I don't think there's some like deep meaning to it.
But why? Like, what's the appeal of fuller
I mean,
lips?
did you? Maybe she just likes them better on her face.
Okay, that's like the dumbest question I'm sure
I mean,
I've ever
there's
asked.
two.
I'm
There's,
just,
so like, especially with trends in beauty, they change all the time.
Yeah.
So right now, like a bolder, more shaped eyebrow is very popular. And that's very Kardashian as well. And they talked about this episode that Kylie has made her eyebrows thicker and more full. And it's the same with lips. And, you know, you just want that, have a little plump.
Well, I think it's more the influence of hip hop culture on society today. I think hip hop has grown to a certain degree, and I don't want to make it like a black thing, but you know, having fat ass and fuller lips, that comes from a more African American background. Unfortunately, Kylie, who's half white, you know, and oh no, she's full white.
I guess, or
half white?
Armenian, and
I don't know what's Chris.
They're
White.
part Armenian.
I mean,
Right,
Armenian.
it's supposed to be part Armenian or
I
whatever.
think you'd consider that.
But isn't
yeah.
that on the Kardashian side, not Chris's side? So that's not Kylie.
So she's a white girl
Yeah.
who needs the help, is what I'm trying to say. You feel me? So now in this type of society, that's what's hot. She wouldn't be, you know, she wouldn't be feeling these pressures, and if she wasn't dating a Tyga or being around in this this hip hop culture, that pressure's there because of what we've created. So that's what's going on. It's not just I want fuller lips. You go back 30, 40 years, white girls were fine with thin lips, no lips at all, and no ass, and nobody cared. It was all about boobs. Everybody was like, let's have boobs. Now, you know, it's a little bit different. So that's what it is.
Stephaune, quote, everybody was like, let's have boobs.
Yeah, I mean, that's
No, it was.
Pam Anderson was hot. If you looked at Pam Anderson right now, if she didn't augment
She's always
herself,
had full lips, though.
I don't know if she's always had full natural lips. Pam Anderson.
Regardless of whether they're natural or not, that was a long time ago.
That's what I'm saying. So she had to augment to try and better herself.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's looking like right now.
That world, man, I don't know. I don't know if I would ever augment anything. I mean, like, but
Guys don't really
pressure
have
on
to.
guys, exactly. The pressure on guys is much, much, much less than the pressure on women. I don't know whether that's, again, real or perceived, if women put that on themselves. But a lot of society, there is a huge pressure on women, especially people in Kendall and Kylie's stature in life. It's huge.
I think y'all letting them get away with a lot too. You're saying these subtle changes that Kim's talking about is okay, but I think we're letting them off the hook. They said in the episode, well, you know, Kylie, her career changed when she started plumping her lips or whatever other changes she made.
That's just because her confidence changed. Now she's talking about, you know,
Okay.
now that I feel comfortable with myself, I feel like I want to put
I can
myself
face
in these,
things,
and
yeah.
I can face things, and
Yeah.
that comes when you have that self-confidence. You
So
can come across better. You can take
Here's
these
what
pictures.
they're saying then. You're not enough as you, so we're not going to try and help you figure out how to have better self-esteem or love yourself. We're going to say, okay, plump this, change that, augment this, make it subtle, and then you can go and face life.
That's the parallel to what I wonder with Rob, because they look at Rob and they say, you know, they talk about trainers and losing weight, and there was talk of him going on The Biggest Loser, and it never happened.
Yeah.
But how much of that, and we don't know how much in real life is going on versus the cameras, but how much of that is saying, Rob, lose weight, feel better, get healthy, get your life together, get a job, versus the actual underlying issues? How much are they facing that? It's the same idea with this, with Kylie and Kendall, and well, Kylie specifically in this one is, hey, if you can fix it, if we can throw money at it, let's throw money at it. That's the one thing that tastes a little sour to me on this, for sure.
Right.
I don't know. It's the other thing I found interesting with Kylie is, yes, she grew up in the spotlight against her will because she's a kid and you can't make those decisions.
Yeah.
But she's fast becoming an adult and is putting herself in the spotlight now doing her hair extension line.
Yeah.
So when you put yourself in that spotlight, and I'm not saying that people in the spotlight are robots and totally secure with themselves, because they're not.
Yeah.
And you could argue the people in the spotlight are the most insecure with themselves and they're looking for reinforcement from other people. But when you put yourself in the spotlight, you got to own it. Back to Sterling's point, you have to own that once you're there. And when you're going to do the press conference and you're going to do the hair extensions, when people say stuff about you, it can affect you, you can whatever, but you got to keep it professional. And you have to be ready for all that. And you got to put on the poker face and say, you know what? This is what it is.
I was not expecting to come in here and defend Kylie Jenner because I had every intention of being like, that's so dumb. Like, we already knew already.
Kylie's
blah, blah,
one of
blah.
my favorite Kardashians. So, I mean...
Yeah, but I mean, but to her, like, if that's something that's going to make her feel better about herself and make her feel more confident and maybe, you know, be able to pursue opportunities because of that confidence, I think that's great. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want her to.
I agree with that.
Obviously, if she's just going to get these lip fillers, that's fine. But there is a line. I don't think she's going to cross it.
What is the line?
I mean, I don't know. But she's just so young. I don't even know what she would even get. Like, you know what I mean?
You can't. It's hard to ask what the line is.
I don't know what she wants to do, but I think where she is right now is what I'm saying. I'm like, if that's giving her confidence to even, because she's never really been on the show much.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing her more.
Super quiet,
like,
super cute little girl. Now all of a sudden.
And I don't think she needs it, but if that's something that makes her feel better, you can't really say anything about anyone until you put yourself in their shoes. And I mean, if I, you know, get that pressure, I can't even imagine. You know, you're like, oh, my top lip's a little thin. Then I'd like, okay, I'll pump it up a little bit. And then I don't know. I mean, I'm not like an advocate for plastic surgery or anything.
I'm with you. Yeah.
But I don't think there's one woman who is at the level of celebrity that they are who hasn't gotten a little plump here and there.
This is why
or a little cellulite removal. I just don't think it's realistic.
This is why we need you here.
I mean, but for like everyday real life people, I don't know.
I
say do whatever makes you happy.
These are real life people that are watching her that are trying to emulate.
I say forget the haters and do whatever makes you happy.
I'm with that, and I understand that forgetting the haters, and I agree with that 99.9%. But I just wonder if you don't start to lead people down the path to what you're talking about. And I'm playing devil's advocate against both of you just because it's an interesting debate.
I can't believe I'm even defending her because every time someone brings it up, I'm like, oh, it's so annoying. But I feel like, you know, I really believe that you have to do whatever is going to make you happy. But if that is something that she did because other people are like, you need to fill your lips, then I don't agree with that.
And that's the thing.
I want to make that clear. I'm not like you know, supporting all plastic surgery.
And we'll never know, and we will never know if you know, Chris went to her and said, hey, you need to look this way and that way for your brand, because that's unconscionable. It wouldn't surprise me, but hey, we don't know what happened, so maybe it didn't happen because it also, you know.
I mean, being honest, I think they're only talking about it on this show to kind of misdirect us, you know, to the lips because of whatever else she's done. So my personal, and this is just an opinion, I feel like Kylie's done other things to herself over the years, and the lips is the easiest thing for us to talk about. She can, you know, kind of tug of war with us, with the media, with the fans, finally come out and say, okay, you got me, you know, and that way we'll all rest and leave everything else alone. It's the behavior that's been modeled by Kim, which Kim's had tons of work done, right? She always does it very subtly.
And Chris has too.
Yeah. But I mean, we don't care as much about Chris as Kim. You know, Kim's she's the icon. So the way she does it is, it's very subtle. She's kept things from her own family on this show we've seen, you know, and she whenever it becomes too much, she'll give us a little bit so that we'll say, oh, okay, so she did get her boobs done. Oh, okay, let us get off of Kim for a little bit. Meanwhile, she's getting a whole overhaul. That ain't Kim's ass. Let's keep it real. You know what I'm saying? She just ain't built like that.
Yeah.
I feel her.
Interesting.
And Kim, I remember you from 24 Hour Fitness in Sherman Oaks without that ass. So don't try to front on Steph. I live in LA.
He noticed.
That's what I was waiting to hear. Okay. So I guess that's the only issue I have. And Kendall, I guess, will have a little bit of a different path than Kylie, at least it appears from what they're doing, because Kendall, with the modeling thing, you can't have a ton of work done because then it becomes too noticeable, right? You got to get you got to get natural enough.
Absolutely.
At her level. So
The only thing I worry about with Kylie, and that's my last point, is that she talked about she changes her style so much, and that she goes from like one trend to the next. She'll be like goth one day and then really girly the next day. So if this is something that, you know, is a phase for her, like getting work done, and then, you know, maybe her next phase won't be it. I feel like what you do should be something, kind of like getting a tattoo, like something that you want to stick with you forever.
Yep.
But temporary lip fillers, I mean, that can go away.
how long does that last? What's the, I don't know anything about lip fillers. Can you feel her lips?
It just depends on, I'm pretty sure they're just like numb. I don't know.
It's like after the dentist when the water just
I
spills out of your
have no
mouth.
idea what it's like.
I don't know. I'm not sure. It depends on how often you do it, and then I don't know.
It's just like Botox, it sounds like.
Yep.
Kind of.
It's that simple. It's
Okay.
a very, very simple procedure, and she can do it as often as she wants.
What a world we live
I mean,
in.
she's not gonna, you know, it's not.
She ain't changing because of
affecting her
us.
health.
So to keep it moving. I mean, honestly.
That's the other thing. And that's the last thing is like, if we're going to talk about this, if gossip magazines are going to talk about this, if people on Twitter are going to talk about this, if you're going to do it, not only own it and be honest, and you don't need to tell us everything, but be honest enough about this stuff. Not only that, but double down on it. I'm not saying do it again, but stand by what you're doing.
Right.
And she did that, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Stand by what you're doing. If you make a decision, stick by the decision. And if you make a bad decision, own up and say it was a bad decision.
Yeah, and months ago, when she was still sticking by her story that she's just overlining her lips, I was like, come on, we are not that stupid. Like, we know that you're doing something. You know what I mean? And that's what Khloe and Kim were talking about, is that it's very obvious, and don't think that we're dumb enough to believe that it's a makeup trick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And her fans, there's some diehard Kardashian people, man. Go on Twitter, you see these people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Those people will not question what she says.
No.
And that's a problem, you know.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem. And so when she said, oh, I'm just lining my lips, there are hundreds of thousands, millions, I don't know how many Twitter followers she has, and who's diehard. But there are millions of people who are going to say, you know what? Totally. She's lining her lips. I'm going to do the same thing. Kylie can do no wrong.
Try it out.
Idolatry, man, it's scary. That's what it is.
I hear you. I agree with that, actually.
All right, let's move on to Scott and Kourtney. I didn't really care for this storyline. It was kind of...
I did.
Really?
Yep.
Why? It was obvious what was going to happen.
Because it was like the Scott that we love again.
Yeah, it was the cutest time between Scott and Kourtney that we've seen in a while.
I loved Kourtney in this episode,
Yeah.
personally, and I don't love her in a lot of episodes.
Okay,
She was super cute, very fun. She just wanted them
Froyo.
to be doing something together.
No, she didn't want that. She wanted Froyo.
Yeah, I think she wanted Froyo.
Yeah.
No, I mean, she said we finally have a common interest. She was really about working with her man.
Yeah.
It was good. I thought that was really cool.
I thought it was cute when they were in the store and they were picking out things together, and they actually agreed on things, which was nice to see in their relationship.
That was the honeymoon phase when it was just starting, and then Scott very quickly was like, wait a second, I'm going to get screwed on this.
You know what I think, though? I think there's no way they could have lasted this long if not for those moments. So that's the part that we don't see on Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
That is so true.
I think Scott's, they're very normal. They're very cute and funny with each other. You know, if it was all drunken Scott and, you know, passing out and clubbing, I'm sure they would have been done by now, and they wouldn't make it to 3 kids.
No, and you have to have a balance. And when one of them goes, you know, a little off the wire, Scott usually, but Kourtney Hamptons, Kourtney today in a different way. When one of them goes off the wire, the other one has to balance. And so they have a weird measure of inconsistency and consistency. If you have 2 inconsistent people, it's going to blow up. It would have blown up by now. But one of them is always consistent enough.
Right.
So it's weird to, I think, the rest of us. Like, I look at it and say, if I was in a relationship like that, I would not get 3 kids deep. No way. But for people like that, it works.
Yeah.
You know, it's clearly working for them. We can debate the issues around Scott and how long that stuff will work, and we have a lot. But on some level, this is working for them. Obviously, it's a bad idea. Don't mix business and pleasure, especially when you already have kind of a tenuous relationship at points because of other issues. No.
I mean, I think that Scott just blew it out of proportion. I don't think that her wanting to get Froyo is that big of a deal.
I'm going to disagree with you 100%.
Okay.
Scott's.
I mean, he's not having to pay a designer. He can spend 20 minutes getting Froyo for a second if he's saving money on a designer.
Yeah, but he came off.
He can pay her in Froyo. I would love to be paid in Froyo.
Scott was about business in this episode, though. He was about making money. He was very clear. He tried to keep it as professional as possible. And he's got this cute little fun Kourtney. Kourtney was in rare form to me. I actually like her like this. But, you know, for the purposes of business, it just wasn't working. That whole dynamic.
And you talked, Sterling, about with Kylie, where do we draw the line? When will they draw the line with that? Scott showed us where to draw the line with business for him. And that is when he's, and I'm like this too, it seemed like. When he's working, and when he's not, he's not. When she came to him at 10 p.m., she's like, look at these things. He's like, no. This is not my hour to work. I'm the same way. I think a lot of people probably are. So Kourtney... they don't fit like that. And when Scott drew the line, he knew it immediately, and he drew it quickly, and then they had their little resolution talking about whatever, and, you know.
I also don't think that, I just thought that he, you know, it could have been handled differently. I don't think that she was like pushing him to try to work at 10 o'clock. She just kind of snuggled up to him on the couch. And he said it, and then she was just like,
he knows his
she
girl,
just walked away.
He knows his girl.
That's the line. Because today, Sterling, you come up to me at 10 o'clock, you say, let's look at interior design.
Right.
Tomorrow, you come up to me at 11:30, you say, let's look at interior design.
Yep.
Friday, you come up to me at midnight, you say, let's go through our taxes. Saturday, you come up to me at 12:30, and you say, hey, let's go through the 401k.
Absolutely.
It spirals.
They've been together for, what, over a decade, like almost a decade at least.
8 years or something like that, yeah.
So Scott knows her back and forth. As soon as she came with the little, hey, baby, then he was like, boundaries. We got to set boundaries now. It was like an alarm went off in his head.
And
I just like seeing them in a healthy relationship for a hot
I loved
second.
it too.
Remember, this is 3 weeks removed from Scott getting sketchy cars delivered to his house. Nobody has no idea what he does for money.
Yeah.
And now she's like, hey, let me get up in your business, literally. Yeah. And he's probably like, you know what? I kept this separate for a while. I'm going to
keep it separate.
Yeah, let's keep doing that.
I think Kourtney loved too the fact that, I mean, Mace was there with them when they did the first furniture shopping. But if you notice, Mace wasn't around for the rest of the stuff. So it's like, she gets to be away from being mom and kind of date her man.
Yeah.
So she was kind of mixing the lines.
Does Kourtney have any interior design properties? Like, does she have I don't know, like a line of furniture? Like,
I don't
that's
think so. I think that's just
into.
something that she is passionate about and has designed all of their homes.
Because they talk about this like every third episode.
Yeah.
This is some.
She does have great style, and their house, from what we can tell, is amazing. So.
Well, I think it's like, isn't Chris very good at with her eye as far as design goes?
Chris
and I
is
think
great
that got
too.
handed down to Court.
If Kylie Jenner can put out a hair extension line, surely Kourtney can partner with Target and do some kind of.
I would not be surprised if that's something on the horizon.
It's got to come. And I'm moving soon, so if a Kourtney Kardashian couch came out, if it wasn't like pink,
she'd have that in Target somewhere.
Yeah, I'd buy like
nice.
the gray version or something. Totally.
Yeah.
If it was cost effective.
Of course you would, Bobby.
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know.
What the hell
What's
is that
next?
supposed to mean?
Stop
The Kourtney couch. I got the Kourtney couch.
Wow. All right, moving on. Let's talk a little bit about Kim and her website. Kim said something funny.
She did?
Oh, wait a minute. One more thing before we move on. One more thing. I'm sorry. Lick her down there.
Oh, that was great.
That was hilarious.
Funny. Yeah. That was a little too much. That was crossing a line. Chloe can't. That was crossing.
They always have conversations like that.
That's them.
Totally in character for them.
That's totally them. Especially Chloe. That's Chloe.
That gave me the heebie-jeebies. Some people get like spiders and stuff. Hearing Chloe and Scott and their relationship, talking about that, I'm like,
it's pretty weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
And talking about babies coming out.
And
does that make you feel uncomfortable?
No, let's move on now. Let's talk about Kim. Okay, Kim's.
It's like, I'm not going there. 3 babies.
I don't even.
I thought it was hilarious.
I don't even know where my notes are anymore. I don't want to think about this. Kim was talking about.
Kourtney on that one though.
Kim was talking about relaunching her website.
Kourtney doesn't care though.
Stop.
Sorry. We're still on it.
Because Scott's not. He's not in that.
I mean, did you see the episode where Scott shaved her down there?
Did he?
In the bathtub. They filmed it.
Yes.
He shaved her with a men's razor.
Clipper.
You guys done yet? It's safe to put on the headphones again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
All right. So Kim's
you can hear us without the headphones, Bobby. We're right next to you.
There's a glass partition here.
We're in a completely separate room than Bobby.
All right. Hey, let's viewers, let's talk. Let's talk about Kim's websites. Trying to stay relevant with her website. That line caught me as kind of being weird. These people, among every other celebrity, are social whiz kids. They stay relevant on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. The websites, we all have websites.
Yeah.
You're not sending anybody your website. You're sending them your Twitter account, your Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she said, I have to do this in order to stay relevant. And I was like, that is not, I would never go to your website. I just go to your Instagram.
What are you gonna do? Blog about your Instagrams? Like you're gonna follow them on Twitter and stuff.
Kim only has like a handful of words that she's gonna be able to use in a clutch situation like that. I get it though, and I understood what she meant when she said, I have to reinvent myself. I really respect her for it because, being on top is not a place to rest. She's constantly reinventing herself and dropping new stuff.
Well, yeah, and someone at her level can't have an outdated website. That's just ridiculous.
Sure.
I think she made clear to say something, which I think is a little bit of shade, but
different
whatever.
From the sisters?
Yes. Again, the sister shade.
She said, but equally as good.
Yeah, that was kind of
at the end. She just
to try to clean it up. She
cleaned up she's like,
but not to get too far into like
really different.
Nothing like them at all. But
equally as good.
But not to get too far into like the internet and away from this, but in this day and age, even for us, and I'm sure this is true of younger people who are 10 years younger than us, I'm not going to Kim's website. Nobody is. If I want to follow Kim, I'm going on Twitter and Instagram.
Sure.
I'm not going to follow her website. And so she does have to be relevant enough. And she has the money to do this, so she can. Mm-hmm. But it just seems like, for a businesswoman like she is, a total misappropriation of priorities. Not like this is a big scandal, but it is a mini little like weird decision. Why would you spend so much time on the website when everybody's going to follow you on social media?
Right.
You're not a blogger. That's not an e-commerce site. It doesn't make sense.
On her website, though, she does have a blog section, which I think a lot of people would read.
But it gets updated not frequently, and it's short stuff. It's like pictures, which
is on Instagram. It could be an Instagram caption, basically.
So you said it's not you can't go on there and buy anything?
I don't believe so. Not the last one. I haven't seen this one. I haven't been on it in a couple months, but the last one I was actually really unimpressed with. I'm like, it's just a basic website.
You can probably buy her book on there now.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. We're going
probably takes you to all of her stuff.
Yeah, she gonna sell something.
You have to have a web presence. I mean, that's not debated.
I feel like you do, but I feel like the web presence is social at this point, totally. Yep. And you have to have that thing. And I'm not saying neglect it, but I am saying where are your priorities. You know where the bread is buttered.
This was one episode
for sure, and it's just an excuse for us to see the photo shoot.
Yeah.
Right. And for them to tie in her psoriasis to Kylie's insecurities.
Sure.
And those are different insecurities because she has an actual medical condition where Kylie just believes her lips to be lacking.
Too bad.
But it's still an insecurity thing that they can wrap that up together in a nice bow, and Kim can give a little, advice to the little sister or whatever.
Just get it subtly done, baby. That's all.
And Kim talked about, that she's not happy with her weight, whatever. And I mean, obviously, we all think she's drop dead gorgeous. I would, give anything to look like she does.
I would say that I think
but you know what I mean? Like,
dude,
come on. See, it's people like that think that's why she thinks she's overweight. But she's great, she looks awesome.
I think the butt injections have gone a little overboard here, Kim. I think a little, dial it down if you're not stripping. I mean, that's my personal.
Yeah.
Would you say that with Kanye sitting on that couch right there?
Kanye would try to fight all of us just cause. So I ain't saying nothing. Shout out to Yeezy. I'll see you at church on Wednesday, buddy. Jeez.
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore.
You heard me, bro.
Okay. I don't have much else to say about Kim's website. That was kind of a non-story.
Yeah.
Yep,
she has a website. And in other news.
That sounds great. Let's move on. Let's do a little news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, first thing is first. We got a lot of great We got a lot of great comments from you guys last week, so keep it up. And that reminds me, if you are watching right now on YouTube, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Comment in the YouTube box. You can also tweet us at Bobby DeMuro, at Sterling Cates, at I Am More Fire. You can send us tweets literally all week. We obviously check them all the time because we have Twitter web presences. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Social media.
And if you're listening to the podcast version on iTunes, hit subscribe on iTunes, please. You can rate us there. We would really appreciate that. But the reason I mention that now is we got a comment on YouTube last week from Kiko Magazine, a user named Kiko Magazine, who gave us his or her argument about the Kardashians, but the crux of the argument is a question maybe you guys can touch on next week. I was talking about them a few months ago to my friends on Facebook, and I was wondering how you guys felt about this. What do you think of the family's evolution since the first season of the show? Did reality TV ruin the family or not?
It's interesting because today the New York Times article just came out about Kris Jenner, and the title is, let me read it to you. I have it up.
I did see this.
Sorry. I was all the way at the bottom. Where would the Kardashians be without Kris Jenner? And it just talks about, obviously her being a mother and balancing that with being a momager. And how they've not only changed as a family, but how they've changed what it means to be a celebrity. And I think that's a very good point because, a while back, it was just, actors and people who were in movies, TV shows.
Sure.
That was what we thought of as celebrity. But now with this whole new world of reality, and someone's a celebrity because of who they are and as a real life. And we know that as hosts and on-air personalities, we're here just to be ourselves and to talk about our opinions. And that's very similar to what the Kardashians do. They are just themselves. And it's a whole different world. And I think that Kris really kind of forged that path for reality and being successful in that realm.
And so you're almost arguing, it sounds like, reality TV didn't change them. They changed television. They changed celebrity. I know that sounds weird to people who are not fans of the Kardashians, but they did. These people are...
Oh, they're iconic.
This is the original show, but then you have shows like that follow other families that obviously aren't as popular, like Honey Boo Boo and whatever it is, and also all the shows on E, like the Jesse James Decker, Eric and Jesse,
and the old ones like Newlyweds with Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey.
Oh God, what a classic!
Yeah.
I love that one.
But none of those did as well as this, and none of those lasted as long as this.
Yeah, so they know what it takes to stay relevant, and Tim touched on that this episode, and I don't
relevant. Relevance back.
So we've seen them for so long now. Did reality TV change them as best we can tell? In obvious ways. I mean, they're much bigger. They have a larger presence. They have a more celebrity life than they did at the start. And we've seen Kendall and Kylie grow on television.
Grow up, yes.
So I think there's positives and negatives.
I don't see a ton of negatives. We haven't had huge scandals, at least in the family. Lamar is a separate situation. Okay. Scott is in the family for sure, but still kind of a separate situation. Rob, we don't know what's going on, but maybe you could consider that for sure. But really, considering how big the family is and how long they've been in the public eye and what they've been through, they've come out of it pretty unscathed so far.
Yeah. I was talking to someone the other day. I can't even remember. It's just irrelevant who it was. But just like the Kim as a person is the most followed person, not even just on social media, but in real life, like paparazzi following her. Everyone wants to know where she is every second of the day. And that is crazy to me because they said in the conversation we were having, even more than Beyonce. And I was like, more than Beyonce? Not to me, but for the majority of people, I feel like even if you don't want to care, you care. You know what I mean? You can pretend like, oh, the Kardashians are so stupid or whatever, but you're still talking about it. You still know who they are, what they're doing, who they're married to, who they're dating. Yeah. They got lip injections. You still know every detail of their lives, even if you hate them.
That's the bottom line. And we have people do this every week on comments, and it always makes me laugh. If you don't care about the Kardashians, don't watch their show, don't watch this show, don't comment, don't tweet us. Because when you do, you feed the beast.
You're in it. Exactly.
If you really didn't care, turn it off.
Sure.
Right. And the other thing that I think needs to change, and this is so ridiculous, but a lot of people like to not only say how much they hate the Kardashians. Are you kidding? We love them. But B, they like to be like, who are the Kardashians? I'm not familiar.
Stop it.
Bullshit.
Stop it.
You may not watch the show, that's fine. A relatively small segment of the population watches the show.
They're worldwide icons.
You know who they are.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. It's crazy to me. And I think, going off that question, just these 10 seasons, and that's what it's done for them. So, if that's what they want for their lives, then that's great. They've achieved humongous success. So.
I remember watching when they went to Armenia.
Yeah.
Just a couple weeks ago or whatever. And the reaction that the Armenians and that whole culture was having that when Kim arrived and the rest of the family, Kim and them,
Kim and them, Kim and company.
And there's that moment on the show where they show Kanye. He does that whole concert, full-on concert in the freaking River Jordan or wherever he is, and it's like this crazy. And I said to my mom, I was at my mom's. I'm like, Mom, I want you to understand. The reaction and the kind of the worship that Kim got as she got off the airplane, and look at the reaction Kanye's getting. But Kanye's got to write music, produce music, rap a whole song, make a video, be friends with Jay-Z, produce every. He's got to do like 17 different incredible things that none of us can match. She just has to show up.
She just has to be there.
You feel me?
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, I just need you to see this now. She is an icon. Whether you all like it, love it, hate it, it don't matter.
It
Just
really doesn't
you're in it.
matter.
I am fascinated with how 100 or 200 years from now, historians will look at Kim Kardashian. Because she has done, very broadly speaking, I know she does a lot, she has a lot of business ventures, but very broadly speaking, she has done nothing and is huge.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to critique her, I'm saying it purely out of wonder. It's incredible.
It's incredible.
It is incredible.
It's incredible.
And don't think for
Wonder.
a second we don't realize that, because we talk about it every day.
Right.
Yeah.
They do nothing. These shows, this episode today was about nothing.
I love that Barbara Walters interview where she's like, so you don't act, you don't sing, you don't have any talent, and they're all just like, yeah. So
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So what's
They're
your
just like,
so
yeah.
what's your question?
It is truly
What's the question?
know what
We
I'm
got
saying,
millions of dollars.
and I don't necessarily think
Easy.
you know, pessimists and cynics will say, well, it's an indictment on society. The sign of the apocalypse is Kim Kardashian. Shut up. It's not, this is not an indictment on society any more than any other stupid thing that happens is an indictment on
They're
society.
just doing a good job at it.
It's just a crazy phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's you can't help. For a long time, I didn't hate them, but I was like, these people are crazy. And the more I watched them, and the reason I'm doing this show with you guys is, after a while, I said, you know what? This will probably never happen again.
It will never happen again. It's never happened before, and it will not ever happen again.
You
Not
can't
this
do it.
way.
And
I mean, I can't
understand.
even think of any families really that are on the horizon
Not
of
this way.
being that way.
And I
that
understand-
that aren't talented.
And
I hate to say that, but like that
yeah.
aren't singers or actors or
And
whatever.
there are phenomenons like
Sure.
you know, the Beatles and stuff,
Yeah.
but those are people with talent. Those people
Right.
who
Yeah.
do
Right.
things. I just I don't even know
Well,
what to say.
the more success
speechless.
they have achieved, the more they've been able to do as far as like fashion goes and
Yeah.
their lines and that sort of stuff. But you know, back in the day, they weren't doing that stuff. They were just
Also,
they were
let's
just
keep
them.
it real with the fashion and what they've been able to do. They've been able to do that only because of their celebrity
Yeah, that's
status.
they've gotten more
I don't
successful,
even
they were
know
able to
if
do that.
their impact on fashion would even be relevant.
I feel like it's not even that relevant.
It's not.
We don't
like,
ever talk
do they,
about that.
Do they really have an
Well,
impact?
in
Well,
their,
Dash Dolls is now going to have their own show.
in their defense though too, they've gone they I don't know how much high fashion they've done, but they've gone low fashion. That's
Yeah.
not an insult. They went to the people and they said, you know what?
Sears and all
we
that.
want to mass produce stuff for
Sure.
you guys. Brilliant.
Genius.
Should have been happening. Yes.
Genius.
Brilliant.
Produce the hair extensions. Genius.
Yeah.
When Kylie drops the lipstick line. Genius. You know what I'm saying? You might as well capitalize. What?
This enjoy the ride, man. Nothing
real.
like this will happen again.
Do everything.
In 50 years, when the next thing happens, it'll be a different era and a different thing. It'll look different. Nothing like what we see today with this family
Never
will
happen
ever
again.
happen again. I thought that these people were going to fall off the face of the earth slowly after the Chris Humphries thing. I thought she wasn't going to be able to recover from that because it was so stupid and it was so obviously
Chris Humphries.
dumb that 72 days or whatever, that should have been the moment. That was not the moment. They made it through. They are here to stay.
And Chris Humphries has been traded to 2 different teams since Kim. She made Chris. I mean, I knew Chris Humphries before this. They didn't.
What
Genius.
Genius.
What must life be like?
Wish I thought of that.
What must life be like for Ray J?
Oh, jeez. He kind of missed the boat a little bit.
He did miss the-
But he is the. Is he?
I hit it first.
He
He's
made the boat.
He's the. Yeah, he didn't make that.
Well, his
He's
name.
Noah.
Well, yeah.
I just compared Ray J to Noah. Lord, please forgive me.
I mean, but his name is brought up so many times just because of Kim.
Oh my
So I mean,
God.
good
And
for him.
she's kept him on the map.
Yeah,
she's kept him relevant.
Yeah.
Relevance back.
Yeah, that's
Relevance
God.
back.
He's still irrelevant, but like kind of relevant.
Hey. Love and hip hop, Hollywood. I'll see you then. Oh, he's not even returning.
Oh no.
He's gonna be irrelevant.
But she will live on.
Maybe he'll drop a
forever.
new hit single.
Yeah.
That's what I would want to do. If I could ask like one question as I die, I want to be like, how will people 100 years from now view the Kardashians? Because it's such a weird phenomenon. There's not stuff like this that happens.
Or just ask God when you get there. You're
Yeah.
like, God, can I look in? I just need to see what's going on. I need to keep up with the Kardashians.
there will
to
be
keep up with them.
at a university in this country in the year 2200, there will be a professor of pop culture whose specialty is Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Bank on it.
Yeah, Sterling K.
Yeah, that's gonna be me.
In 2200.
Yeah,
Real quick,
2200.
we got one more piece of news, just a couple minutes. Speaking of Kim, the selfie book, it dropped this past week. What do you guys think of it? I actually like it.
Genius.
Genius.
It is,
I
though.
wish I thought of that.
Is it not?
I am debating. I can't believe I'm going to say this on air. I am so sorry. I'm debating asking my girlfriend to get this for me for my birthday, June 5. I'm debating
If she doesn't, can we go halvesies on it? Because
Totally,
I
yeah,
definitely want to see it.
absolutely.
How much is it?
I don't know.
Is it expensive?
That's like 30 bucks.
Oh my God, I might as well just grab
It's
some
a-
on the
I'm
coffee
gonna
table.
look at it once and then, or maybe 3 or 4 times, and then
yeah.
give it to Bobby.
It's like 400
I
pages.
just want to see what's in there.
It's
But
I'm
it's
very curious.
I just need us to understand. She made a selfie book.
Yeah.
and
she
you
didn't
bought
write
it.
a novel.
You bought it.
But she's-
Every one of you bought it.
She didn't write a novel. She didn't go
Yeah.
outside of her comfort zone.
pictures.
She stayed within her.
Kendall and
It's
Kylie.
all about the memories, guys.
Yes.
So let's talk about one-upping. Kendall and Kylie last season or a few months ago or whatever, they had the show where they had the ghost written novel
Right.
or the ghost written
Yeah.
book or whatever that had text. So Kim says, you know what? I'm going to take all the pictures on my phone
Yes.
and
Yeah.
print them.
Well, she made that
That's
selfie
it.
book for
Kanye.
Kanye
Yeah.
as a present, and then I think that was just kind of like, you know what? I think millions
Because
and millions of
Kanye's
people would want to
genius.
see this, and he was probably like, you know what?
Baby,
we
put
should
this
just
out.
let's send all your naked selfies out there in the world and
Baby,
make
put
lots of
this
money.
out. Kanye posts her naked.
Yeah.
He
And
gives big
what
shots out.
does he always say? He's always like winning or swish. He always says swish as the caption.
Because
I think it's so
there's
funny.
more to their relationship than love.
Yeah.
It's a business arrangement.
Yeah.
It's
It's like
genius.
buckets.
You know, and it's terrible if a relationship like that is a branding exercise and a business arrangement. If the people are human, I hate to say this, the two of them, they deserve each other and they're
Yeah.
perfect for each other, man.
course.
They're using the hell out of each other and it's beautiful.
Narcissists come
It's
together
so beautiful.
and meet in the middle. It's perfect.
This family.
And make a little small narcissist.
The wonder. I love that you said that.
It's wonder. It's just
No, you have to.
pure, unadulterated wonder that these people. That I follow them on Twitter, and every one of their tweets is like, East Coast, 2 hours, show's coming
Yeah,
on.
and you still follow him.
And it gets
and then we talk
3,000
about it for
retweets.
an hour every
She
week.
literally took a word that was just recently created. How long has the word selfie even been in the English language?
It probably went in the dictionary like 2 years ago.
Like 2 years ago, she made a selfie book. She's right on the cutting edge of everything cultural, pop culture.
What is going on in the world?
She's genius.
She's genius.
Damn, Kim.
Because no one likes to read anyway. Might as well just look at
yeah,
pictures.
ooh, yeah, who wants to read?
And all y'all said she got the perfect body. She's Kendall said, "You're the body guru."
Okay.
Chloe
To
said
Kim,
that.
it was a Chloe. One
said
of them.
that.
You're the
Doesn't
body
matter.
guru.
It doesn't matter. Just
Somebody. One of the other ones. Kim
is-
and them.
one of the thems.
She is the money train. And some of these people
Yeah.
who are buying this selfie book, this may be the
Us?
first hardcover print book they've ever owned.
God. Oh no.
I'm just saying.
Imagine the teenagers whose parents are paying.
Wait a second. It's 2015. There are 12-year-olds born in 2003 who may never have, besides when they were toddlers with their parents, in their, from being 8 and on.
We talking
they
Dr.
may
Seuss
never-
nothing. We
They've been
talking-
doing iPads. They've been doing
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
This may be like the first real book. This is their
I
coffee table
wonder,
book.
but does she have like a ebook version?
She's got to. She's too
I
smart not
I
to.
almost would love it if they didn't. Like, you have to buy the print version, and you have Kim on your stinking desk the rest of your life.
I'm gonna do it actually. I think I'm gonna
Unless
do it.
you burn it. Or,
No, I'm just gonna do
keep
it.
Okay, here's the deal. First one to buy this book. If I don't get it for my birthday, I'm gonna be pissed. First one to buy this book. Bring it in. We're gonna dissect it on the show.
I'm moving,
I
so I'm
think-
about to throw it on the coffee. I think I'm gonna get it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
I'll
think
get it this week.
I'm definitely gonna get it. My roommate and I were talking about this yesterday.
Love
This is
it.
perfect.
She's like, "Is it bad that I really want to just look at it?"
We could split it.
course
We
you
do.
do.
Split it, and then 10
it
days
in.
with you, 10 days with
Yeah,
you, 10 days with
shared
me.
custody of the selfie book.
Shared custody.
Good. I'm glad we've got this figured out.
Kim, you got us. You're in our veins. You're genius.
All
I
right.
can't believe she's heroin.
We got to wrap, but on that note, actually, we want to hear from you guys. Actually, if you are watching on YouTube, listening on iTunes, tweeting, whatever, this is the question. If you bought the selfie book, tell us about it. I want to know. I want to know what it's like. I know it's pictures of her, but like, tell us more. So if you bought that,
I'm gonna go get it this week, and I'll bring it.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Perfect. Okay, so give us a
I'm
review.
gonna go get it right now.
If you
I gotta go.
If you have the selfie book, let us know. That's it this week on Kardashians. We'll be back next week. Big episode next week, Mr. Bruce Jenner or Bruce.
Wait, can I just say one quick thing about that?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I know we need to wrap.
Do it.
So for the special that he had, they were all like, we don't want to comment, we'll talk about it when we're ready, blah, blah, blah. And then like the next day, they're like, oh, it's like we're going to have a 2 hour special just on our show so that we can make the money from it. I was like, come on, really?
Why did they do that? Why do they do that?
Well,
Stephaune, because they are
genius.
You know why they did it? Because everyone wants to know what they think about it. But it's just like, come on, like, this is his
so
moment.
why not make us pay for it? We're gonna pay
I was just
for
like,
it.
come on. But that was for his moment. But I mean, obviously, we're going to watch and talk about it for 18 hours. So
Wonder.
Wonder. It blows my mind every week.
Wonder.
All right, anyways.
I'm Bobby. That's Sterling. That's Stephaune. At Bobby DeMuro. At Sterling Cates. At I Am More Fire. See you guys.
Later.
Genius.
Executive
Wonder.
producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.